stereotypical middle management person looking up and saying, okay, when will that next come? What is that next?
8:30 in the morning till 8:30 in the evening. So 12 out of 16 is 75% of your awake time.
Said you go find a job in a 20,000 person company, but then it's on you to be happy or not.
That whole definition of joy or whatever gave me joy just kept changing with every passing year, every passing minute. After I did that first transaction, I don't think the next transaction gave me that much joy, right?
And when we listen to stories of journeys, right, the serendipity of what led to what and what you said yes to and where.
And though you want to do, it's something that you really want to do, you don't know if you're able to sustain it and if it's going to sustain you.
I mean, the world is telling you that instant gratification is good, right? Forget what you may or may not perceive. But I go on social media, I post a picture, there are a few hundred likes, I feel good about myself.
You can't ensure that, right? You say, I'll do my best to make a film. I'll do my best to create a good podcast.
At the end of a long week of all of us doing our own thing, my daughter walks up to me and says, "Can you tell me a story?" And so follows the negotiating, the invention, the connections, the catharsis of a story well told, nevertheless imperfect. For centuries, stories, as we've discovered, were the anchors around which our culture, our mythology, our societies themselves were built. Today, we are joined by two exceptional guests with a long, thriving creative career of their own, with one enduring anchor: the love for good stories. Ameen Haque, the original Storywallah, has spent years helping founders, leaders, and professionals tell the stories that are the shortest bridge between two individuals. Vinay Shenoy has worked across leadership and communications roles, both for brands and agencies, and understands implicitly that storytelling isn't optional in today's world. Welcome to Small Talk, Work, Clay, Build. I am Hasita. I am a brand consultant and co founder at Motley Crue.
And I'm Subha, leadership and career growth coach.
So I have a lot of questions, of course, for the both of you on what stays and what goes over the course of a long and successful career in your own right and what you've built. And also the concept of personal brands, founder brands, brands in general that last. I mean, when we talk about the test of time, I think you can't not mention brands of some form or format. So how do they work? What goes into it? That's our curiosity for today. Thank you so much for being here and agreeing to speak to us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Can I request that you guys just quickly introduce yourselves in whichever format you want? Take a couple of minutes and tell us who you are today.
Yeah, I'm Ameen Haque. I'm a story monk. What that means is a monk is first a student. So I'm a student of stories. And I'm also a teacher of stories in the sense that somebody said this: if you want to learn something, try teaching it. You'll end up learning it faster. So I teach while I continue to remain a student.
Beautiful.
Hi, Vinay Shenoy. Been doing a lot of stuff. Don't know where to begin. Don't know where to end either. I'd love to end somewhere, end up somewhere, but love storytelling.
Would you label yourself? I'm a marketing person, I'm an advertising person, or is it storyteller across whatever format needs it?
I'd like to say that I'm a design thinking person. I think in design, okay, and I don't know how to explain it. So storytelling becomes a medium for me to explain that.
Okay.
So I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it does. I mean, we have worked together, of course, and I think perhaps, if I may, the label that you're looking for is some sort of a community builder because I've experienced that firsthand. I think the ability to bring together people who share different perspectives, which is
Yes.
what I mean. Generationally, when you're talking about someone who's younger, someone who's probably seen a little bit of career, and especially creative careers can jade you big time.
Yeah.
And then we come with our own baggages, right? Like, and we come from different perspectives. But you found a way to sort of bring all of them together. And therefore, I find that maybe a community builder is a very interesting uh, aspect of what you bring to the professional table, which also I think brings me to the question of, say, today we are talking so much about AI and automation, and AI can replace your jobs. But how do you go about identifying what is authentically true to you and what is it that you can bring to the workplace? What are the, I mean, in your perspective, in your work, even for me to begin telling good stories about myself, leave alone the rest of the world, what is the first question I should be asking myself, and what is that bit that I should be reflecting on?
Who am I?
Hmm.
Why do I want to tell stories?
Hmm.
What gives me joy? What would I do if I wasn't being paid,
Hmm.
but I still want to do it? I think these are some of the questions that we should be asking ourselves, not AI,
Hmm.
ourselves. There are lots of books that we read, but the book that we don't read is called Swadhyay. Swa, self,
Hmm.
adhyay, study.
Hmm.
So, self study is where one should begin.
Hmm.
Not looking outside, but looking inside.
Yeah.
Uh, See, in storytelling also, a lot of people focus on the word telling,
Hmm.
and people want to become better tellers. But the story comes from inside.
Yeah.
So it starts with who am I? Uh, why do I want to tell a story in the first place? And what gives me joy? These are important questions. So I think I would begin there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Thank you. What a beautiful question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But that also kind of leads me on to other questions, because recently someone, I write a lot, mostly for myself, and sometimes occasionally I subject the world to it. And someone reached out and said, are you writing lesser because you're using AI to do all the writing right now? And yeah, I was hurt by it for 2 business
Ouch.
Ouch.
days. But
Matter of
I
fact, it
was,
happened on a Friday and then she felt bad till Monday.
yeah,
No, she
Not
went
including the
diving. She
but
went
not,
see,
not
I
diving.
including
went.
the
You have
weekend.
to understand. I actually ran away, right? Like sometimes I'm just. When I've had enough, I'm out.
But I
Quite
think she's very
literally.
lucky. She has this underwater space to get
Yeah,
away
yeah,
to.
yeah. It's very
So
Yeah.
satisfying. We'll talk about it later. But say today, I find that a lot of creation is tied in with consumption. Right? There's enough social media channels and there's enough avenues, and I think the temptation to validate who we are from the world outside is very high. So the idea of self study is not naturally going to lend itself to instant gratification, right? It takes years to come to certain conclusions about who you are and what you like and what you don't like. And then you have problems with the people who cause the circumstances. So there's a whole process involved in
yeah,
becoming the individual that you are. Um, how can someone who, I mean, the world is telling you that instant gratification is good, right? Forget what you may or may not perceive. But I go on social media, I post a picture, there are a few hundred likes. I feel good about myself, and that validates something that I believe to either be true or false. What avenues would you recommend we take to shut this down? Because saying don't be on Instagram is not going to work, right? Don't be on Twitter is not an option. So, in that world of busyness, how do we continue to stay with who we are?
Gita, go back to what Krishna said. Post. Don't expect it to be liked. Detach yourself from the outcomes. Adapt the Gita to the Instagram world. But that's what Krishna was saying.
Yeah.
He is not saying don't post.
I mean, I think most people are doing that only.
Yeah,
They're just posting and leaving it there.
yeah, but
Suddenly it becomes viral, or suddenly it becomes whatever.
yeah, but see, you don't have control over outcomes. You don't
Yeah.
start by saying I'll make a viral film.
Mm.
You can't ensure that, right? You say I'll do my best to make a film. I'll
Mm.
do my best to create a good podcast. I'll do my best to create something,
Absolutely.
a retail space. I'll do my best to create an interesting design. But whether that takes off or not is not in your control. So
Mhm.
detach yourself from it. So if you got a voice, honor it. Honor it. If you love your own voice, and first start by loving yourself and loving what you do, and then offer it as your most authentic offering. If somebody resonates with it, they will lap it up. But that's That's for them to figure out. You can't start by saying, let me create uh, what Shweta likes, what Rahul likes, or what Mr. So and so, because then you are tying your boat to somebody else's ship, and you will be tossed around when they are tossed around. Why would you want to tie your boat to somebody else's ship?
I
That's the
think,
influencer ecosystem.
Hmm. I was just thinking
yeah.
because there are creators who are very, very big, and then there are creators who are more niche. And I am thinking Kanan Gill, he's been on my mind quite a lot in terms of just the kind of audience he's built and who he shows up as. Um, I find that the bigger the artist, sometimes that authenticity of the voice dilutes a little bit along the way. I'm sure they didn't start out,
Yeah.
wanting to not be authentic or not, wanting to be who they are. But somewhere along the way, other priorities and precedences take over. And I think this is very true of brands as well, right? Because there are so many people weighing in on every single aspect of what is and isn't true. And I was just thinking before we started recording, all four of us who are sitting here are in no ROI roles, right? Like there is no ROI to show for any of the work that we do in technical.
Ameen
No,
disagrees.
no. Sir, I wish
It,
that was the meaning.
Correct.
I was Mr. Ambani's son, but that's not true. Uh, or somebody, we have to earn for a living.
yeah,
We have
yeah.
to secure. For me, actually, a lifelong question. This question has remained with me, that why should art not make friends with commerce,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and why should Lakshmi and Saraswati not be friends?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have to create these silos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but the fact is, you know, I have kids. Uh, I have to pay for their. One has enough, and everybody has to answer what is enough for themselves. But that's a separate question. But we also live within this world. It's easy to be a monk who lives in the Himalayas, but to be a householder and to operate in this world is not easy. But having said that, uh, it's not that difficult as well. Touches your heart, that's the way to measure impact, not in terms of numbers. Of course, we have numbers, but somewhere I think we've looked at success as a vertical ladder, which is how big the car, how big the house, etc. But there's also a horizontal way to look at success. Uh, no matter which career you choose, but the horizontal way to look at success is to ask yourself this question: How happy am I? How healthy are my relationships? How much control over time do I have? These are not vertical, they are not coming from the vertical definition of success, but they are very important elements in success. And if you don't have control over your time, would you really call yourself successful?
I think something that happened to me recently in this concept of success, over the weekend, an old client, coach, someone I had coached some time back, reached out to me and said, I would like to gift a session with you to my best friend. And it brought me so much joy. And even my husband said, if someone thinks of your work as a gift to somebody else,
Yeah.
what more? Because in the kind of work that I do as a coach, one, your client is never your friend, right? So you have to build communities outside of that. And the nature of work, you can't really share too much, and you're kind of assuming that the other person is successful and their calendar is full, but nobody will really know the realities. But I think, to measure for me, that it's made my year. Like, if somebody is thinking of gifting time with me, so you're right that how you define success is completely on you, and it's for you to take and enjoy. But I'd like to go back to this storytelling. I think your firm, Storywallahs, like that name itself was very unique and catchy when it came up. And it started at a time when storytelling itself wasn't a big thing. It wasn't known as something that we all need and should do. So how did you build that as something that should be thought about and practiced and learned?
I didn't build it in a, the thing about success is that in retrospect, in the rear view
Hmm.
mirror, it looks like a logical
Planned.
path
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
planned path, but that's not uh, true in every situation, certainly not true in my situation. I was always doing some kind of storytelling, but that's true of all of us. All of us are born storytellers if we are born humans. We communicate with our eyes, we communicate with, and I'm talking about communication
Sure.
per se. Uh, but then uh, you have to build a muscle, you have to use that muscle much more. Thankfully, I was working in advertising and I was doing theater in the evening. So my story muscles
Constantly being
were
exercised.
constantly being exercised as part of my day work and as part of my hobby. And I was writing some poetry. Uh, in my last corporate stint, when I was quitting, I was thinking about what to do, and I almost stumbled upon storytelling. I saw a performance storyteller who was telling stories and running some teacher workshops. And I remember asking her, all of this is looking very cool, but what do you do for ghar chalana?
Yeah.
And she said, Mera chal raha hai. And that I found that to be very reassuring that if somebody can run a house and meet their expenses doing storytelling, I thought, wow, let me try this out. So in my case, it was like that. You see a cricketer and then you want to become a cricketer. You see an actor, you want to become an actor. You see a sports person or a sports manager, and you say, hey, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to. So I had no idea that, you know, there was something like storytelling that you could charge for. But I saw this lady doing that and I said, that sounds interesting. I volunteered with her, hung around, and then started Storywallahs and put up a basic website, took an office in Jeevan Bhima Nagar, hung a board outside, and nobody came. You hope that work comes, but uh, yeah. And then a friend said, I think we should go out. So Atta Galata, the bookstore, was just opening around that time, and I went there and said, "Hey, can I come and tell stories here every weekend?" And I started telling stories every weekend. Children would come along with their parents, most of them in IT jobs, and some of them starting an MBA institute, some of them starting. And somebody said, "Hey, we are starting an MBA institute. Can you come and teach a course here?" Or somebody else said, hey, I love what you're doing with children, but what do you really do? So then you share your background and say, hey, I worked in marketing, I've worked in advertising. And then somebody says, hey, can you come to our office? How much would you charge? And you pick a number out of thin air and say this much, and they agree. And you think, oh, I should have said more. So you discover, price is discovery.
Yes.
As you go along and you discover. Uh, so yeah, it's been happy stumbling along.
No, and when we listen to stories of journeys, right, the serendipity of uh, what led to what and what you said yes to and where it leads, it's really exciting.
It's exciting again, like you said, in hindsight.
Yes, yes.
While you're traversing the path, it's scary as hell,
Yeah,
right? Because you never know what's happening.
yeah,
You
Yeah.
never know what's going to happen. And though you want to do, it's something that you really want to do, you don't know if you're able to sustain it and if it's going to sustain you.
yeah.
And therefore, in hindsight, very romantic story, right?
No, which is what I mean. There is a cost to not jumping, and then there's a cost to
Correct.
jumping. And the cost to jumping is not knowing what is happening in real time. I think that was something that I had to learn how to make peace with, and I still do. Subha is my coach, confidant shoulder. Like she's heard a lot about the trajectory of whatever we are doing right now. But I think
No, there's one more thing. There are enough cases where an Ameen would have embarked on this journey and at some point lost steam
Yeah, yeah.
and decided to give up on that.
yeah,
And then you hear about stories, and everything is a story, right? So you hear about a story where it says, if Ameen had not taken that detour, okay, and taken that next step, that would have given him success. How is he supposed to know that, poor chap?
Yeah,
Correct, correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said, Ameen, that actually met me.
yeah. That applies to so many people.
Poor chap. Right? The fact is, if I had stuck around maybe another month, maybe another week, maybe another couple of months, another quarter, I probably would have been successful there.
Yeah.
Right? And then you hear about stories of people who, after you cross a certain age and stuff, you hear about people who made it big only after a certain age, right? Case in point is Colonel Sanders, 65, suddenly becomes a billionaire. I mean, not suddenly, because he fried a lot of chicken before that.
Yeah.
But he became a billionaire after that, or a millionaire, right? You may want it, it may happen to you, you may exult in it, but to get it, it's going to put it through the grinder, right? And if you don't last it, you'll never taste it.
So you're saying don't equate longevity with success. And
Not at
they're
all. I mean,
independent
you
parallel
could step
tracks.
out of this building today, and Ameen could get accosted by Sanjay Leela Bhansali.
Okay.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to say
Saying
ouch,
you're a
but then
story
you-
wala, likh de yaar. Or apparently Anurag Kashyap has moved to Bangalore. He lives in Level Road. Maybe you should spend more time in Level Road. I know we used to during the Java City days, but apparently he's there. So no, today's in Cannes, but so it could happen, right? He steps out of the building, he steps out of a coffee shop, and he accosts somebody and he says, "Oh, you're a story wala," and ticket to fame.
आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर. But
But to get there,
there's such a why should success be evaluated through? See, different people should have, just like they have different idea of fashion. People should have their own idea of success. And again, longevity should not be the benchmark of success. What should be the benchmark of success? Joy. Are you getting joy at this point of time? Joy different from pleasure. Hmm? You seek pleasure, you'll end up in rehab. Joy is a equilibrium, right? It's a different kind of
it's a more peaceful feeling.
It's something that it's much more deeper. What gives you joy today could be different from what gives you joy tomorrow. And as long as you're on that path, the means may change, but as long as you are able to stay on a path that leads you to a place of joy, the work that gives you joy, the work that gives you meaning, the work that fulfills you economically and much more beyond that, then I think, that's a good way to look at success. And the vertical idea we've already talked about. So I don't think, we should look at anybody as uh, beyond a point, somebody as less successful or more successful. I think we should look at, are you in a happy place or not? And those are more important questions to ask.
But I mean, I am guessing you do a lot of corporate work in the sense working
Most of our work.
most of. So that individual, right? Somebody in their maybe mid 40s, stereotypical middle management person looking up and saying, okay, when will that next come? What is that next? And kind of stuck in the day-to-day humdrum, right? Gen Zs have entered, so they've got that challenge. They've got typically stakeholders, usually global stakeholders, who are still not really valuing them the way they want to be valued, and all of those kind of organizational politics, constructs, etc. So, how does this land with them? Like, what is the story that you inspire them to build in their mind? Because if you go to that corporate individual and say look for joy, it's very difficult.
Well, then there's a problem there, right? What is the largest amount of, where is the largest amount of our time going?
Work.
8 out of 24 hours, 8 hours we sleep. So you are left with 16. 16?
Yeah.
Out of which 11 hours we are working. That's 60 to 65% of our awake time. If you think, for many people, it's 12 hours.
Yeah.
If you include the time you leave from home to the time you get back, 8:30 in the morning till 8:30 in the evening. So 12 out of 16 is 75% of your awake time. 75% of your awake time, you're not strumming a guitar, you're not scuba diving, you're not dancing, you're not singing Kishore Kumar songs, you're not doing yoga, you're not spending it with your kids, you're not spending it with your spouse or your partner. We are doing work.
Hmm.
If we don't love it, there's a big problem.
I agree.
Huh, but the question is, if we don't love it, then what?
Then get out, find what you love.
Oh, it depends, no? It depends on
Because
what.
you're going to spend 75% of your time doing it. That's, you know, 1 year in every 2.5 years is work or more.
Yeah.
But,
No,
but
no,
I'm
I
also thinking of where that option doesn't exist, and there are
No, no, there
No,
are
no,
two
so
instances
types
where
of
there
there are
is.
two
Yeah.
types of individuals who are at the workspace, right? And there's a third which we will ignore for now. But there's two types of this. So what he's saying is right. So if you're spending so much time at work, you might as well find the place that gives you joy, that
Yeah.
work that gives you joy. How often do you find that? You won't, right? It's not. So one type of person is the person who's doing this. He's doing the punch in, punch out. He's doing the whatever, and doing it for the rest of his time. Okay,
Hmm.
he or she. So I know of people and who told me this. My Monday to Friday feeds my Saturday Sunday,
Hmm.
Mm.
right? Or my 9 to 5 feeds
Feeds.
my 5 to 9,
Yeah.
right? So that's how it works,
Hmm.
and that's a means to an end.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so whether they're looking at a career, they're trying to find joy in that career, they're trying to do
Yeah.
achieve greatness in the career. No,
Hmm.
if it happens, then it's serendipity. Then it's a nice rearview mirror
Hmm.
view,
Yeah.
right? On the other hand, there are people who are actually driven to do what they do best,
Hmm.
right? So, for example, creative people, architects,
A lot of entrepreneurs who.
finance guys,
Yeah.
Mm.
for whom joy is out of manipulating numbers or
Yeah.
massaging numbers
Structure
or
and
whatever,
logic.
right?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So, if you look at all of those pillars, there are people who actually find joy in that, and good for them, because if they don't, then we wouldn't have these structures that exist in corporate life, right? So all of Goldman Sachs, I'm guessing, is filled with people who enjoy numbers and finance. All of Ogilvy, I'm guessing, apart from the accounts team, which is all the Sethus, right, is filled with people who are creative, right? Trust me, every advertising agency has a head of finance whose name is Sethu.
I'd like to add and build a little bit
Behave.
on the idea of joy itself.
Yeah.
We have this misconception that joy looks like people dancing.
Yeah. True.
If do you enjoy, I know you enjoy watching a lot of sports, but do you play something? Do you play cards? Do you play carom, badminton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. If I say, let's play tomorrow, you'll land up at
Hmm.
some court.
Hmm.
I'll say, let's play the next day as well. And let's play for 4 hours.
Hmm.
Then after a couple of days, I say, let's play for 6 hours a day. Let's play for 7 hours a day. You'll say, pagal hai kya?
मुझे
But that's
IPL
what,
फाइनल देखना है.
yeah, but that's what Saina is doing, no?
Yeah.
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 That's what.
Virat is
So,
doing.
playing cricket looks looks fun to those who are watching it.
Yeah. Very much.
It's a lot of hard work for those who are playing it. So, fun is or joy. Let me try and define joy in the context of work. Joy is that pain that you are willing to endure
Hmm.
because it gives meaning to you. It gives purpose to you.
Yeah.
And if and you like producing something out of that. If it's a balance sheet and you're willing to endure sitting through Excel for hours because
Yeah.
it gives purpose to you and meaning to you, it's joy.
Yeah.
Writing code and seeing a program come to life where there are thousands of but writing code, bearing the pain of something
Yeah.
Yeah.
has to be an important part of joy.
Correct.
Yeah. So when I say
True.
joy, it's not just dancing,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and giving high fives and having French fries, but it's about doing the work.
Yeah.
And just like cricket or just like any other thing which is
Correct.
joyful for the people who endure the pain
Correct.
because it gives them meaning.
Yeah. No, and it's
Yeah.
kind of
There
that
is
you've spent those hours in the zone and you haven't even realized that three,
that
4 hours
time has
have gone
passed.
by, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's joy. Corporate career was in banking operations, right? So day in and day out, it's thousands and millions of transactions, and typically what you're left with is the one that went wrong. Like your whole day of firefighting,
Typically.
and there's that
Yeah,
one
I mean,
which went
creative is the
wrong.
same. So,
Typically.
Right. But
Life is the same.
that process of chaos, and then finding things, how you will fix it, and then making it work, and kind of meeting that deadline, and that was joy for me
Correct.
at that stage.
Hmm.
And so many years of it. So you're right, like you can find joy in what you do, whatever that may be. And I think that is very important, which sometimes I wonder today if kids are even staying long enough to experience that.
To know what it is.
and
Because
not
you,
just that, you've also placed the onus on the individual, for happiness. You said you go find a job in a 20,000 person company, but then it's on you to be happy or not. Which is what I mean. Finally, you're creating a lot of drones, right? Which is it's become transactional. And then on top of that, you're saying your job is replaceable, your function is replaceable. So, where is the avenue to even go and say, okay, I want to stay here long enough, go through the pain? I don't know if the company will last long enough for me to figure out, the pain aspect of it,
Yeah.
right?
That
So,
too.
that is a newer element,
yeah,
right? Like
with
we
so
never
much.
we never worried about outlasting the company.
Correct.
You joined a good brand, the brand is going to be there. It's your choice how long you stay there. Now it is about whether the company will survive, and whether you will survive the next round of right sizing, and whatever you want
Which
to
I
call
think is
it.
to say, like, if I'm constantly watching my back, then how do I even spend enough time with the process to find what about it makes me happy, right? And
So I resonate very well with the Gen Zs today because when I got out of my MBA with a finance major and a marketing minor, where I dropped advertising, and the only job I could land, directionless youth, right? The only job I could land is when I walked into contract and I said I need to meet someone, and the receptionist was as blank as ever, and she says, "What do you mean?" So I said, "Anyone who can give me a job." And then the first person who was walking by, she called her and said, "He wants to meet you." Right? Somehow I landed the job. Okay, but at that point, I didn't know what I was looking for. Right? I was a flunky in advertising, and everybody knows what that is, right? And then to be able to, for a client, write something which is approved, that suddenly gave you joy. And you're like, oh, he liked it, right? From that point to being able to pull off a nice event on your own steam. From that point to being able to conclude a deal when I didn't think that I was a salesperson. Okay, I joined real estate and I figured that I could actually do a transaction for a shopping center, a leasing transaction. First one I did, I felt joy because I didn't think I had it in me. So um, that whole definition of joy, or whatever gave me joy, just kept changing.
Yeah.
With every passing year, every passing a minute. After I did that first transaction, I don't think the next transaction gave me that much joy, right? It doesn't. It won't give you. Oh, yeah, okay, right? You do 10 transactions, suddenly you're an expert. You do 100, then you're like
Thought leader.
completely.
in something that no longer gives you joy.
Yeah,
That's the worst.
doesn't. Okay. Until I got into planning and I said, oh, this is interesting. So to be able to bring all those insights and being able to plan a mall, right, a shopping center, and when you see it happening and an architect looks at it and says, wow, I'm not an architect, but I was able to do this because of native knowledge and whatever I gained along the way. And he looks and says, great promise. Can I get a shot at this? And let me, clean it up. And this is the mall. Joy of joy. Because I wasn't geared for it. I wasn't trained for it.
Yeah.
Right. So like that, the target keeps moving. It's a moving scale. Right.
But what would be
Forget
the
about-
equivalent of that for someone who's still relatively new in their careers and they're still figuring things out and they may not, I mean, not that the rest of us do, but at least we know what we don't like.
Yeah, you won't figure it out immediately, but what's the hurry?
Yeah.
What's the hurry?
I was just going to say that.
Not
no, there
everyone
is
who
a
has
hurry.
figured it out at 25. No, who's figured it out at
Fair,
30 that
yeah,
this is
yeah.
what it is for me?
Yeah.
Very few people. Very few people, and God bless them, and we should feel happy for them. But most people haven't, and it keeps changing. However, I do feel that we overestimate, and grossly overestimate Not AI's potential, but AI's threat.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm not saying we overestimate AI's potential. I'm saying we grossly overestimate its threat. We grossly underestimate human creativity. We didn't have schools of architecture when Taj Mahal was being built. We didn't have schools of architecture and people going to architecture college when the pyramids were being built. Human beings built that. So we underestimate human creativity. Why are we saying that, the human, it's there.
No, you're right.
And
Yeah.
it's a gift.
It also,
Let AI be a gift that pushes us to go deeper, look within, and say, hey, I've got all of this within me.
No, we have a designer who actually went abroad, did his masters and things, and then he's come back. He works with us now, and what is unique about his design perspective is that he comes from a small town in Tamil Nadu. It was not sure. I mean, the degree did help finish his idea of what goes where and negative space and things, but what is uniquely him is that he's a small town kid. And we were actually asking each other this question of lots of people can do the job, right? Like we can have any number of designers, we can have any number of architects, creatives, coaches, counselors, but what makes me the person that should be a designer,
Yeah.
right, is a question that I think we first of all we come to that question with a lot of difficulty, and the answer to that then is a process of finding and discovery, and I think, or maybe even having the right mentors. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And, also not defining ourselves in a very limiting way. We're saying, okay, if I was to ask you, how would you define yourself? You'd say, well, I'm a podcaster, I'm a scuba diver, I'm a marketing person. Why are we defining a coder only as a coder?
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are multiple sides to every human being.
Yeah.
And when we embrace them fully, you don't have to worry.
I think for that, I'm very thankful to the generations that have come after me because they've opened our eyes to this notion that you can be multiple things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Because at least for us, it was very much defined by what you chose to be educated in, what was your first profession, and that's been your title till and also this whole longevity thing, and you're talking about pivots and doing something else. There's so much more room for that now because when we started working, there was that, okay, at 60 you're going to retire, or if you're a really smart cookie, you'll talk about how I'll retire at 45 or 50. But today, that there's no end line, because for many reasons, whether it's financial or just intellectual stimulation, to keep yourself alive and thriving, you have to keep doing something, or you want to be engaged in something. So that runway is so long, there's enough time to try multiple things.
So this is what I said earlier, right? The Gen Zs that I end up meeting over the last few years, they all have perspective. They don't have depth. Now, I said that in a very different way.
Yeah.
What you just said puts that in a different light right now. They're able to do much more, okay, without getting stuck in this rut of
Yeah.
I will be a finance professional for the rest of my life, right? No, that person has decided that she will dabble in finance. She will also do some music. She'll also do some content creation. She'll also do some pottery on the side, and then she'll go scuba diving at the end of it,
Yeah.
right? All of this in a month's work, right? That is something that is alien to us as a concept, right? But for them, that is second nature, right? But where I was coming from was in that 1 month, if that person is coming for a professional job and a 9 to 5, in that perspective, being able to give them some depth is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Similarly, when that person goes on the weekend for a dive, she gets some depth over there. Not, I'm talking about metaphorically, not
Correct,
just the depth.
Yeah.
And so on, right? When she goes on Sunday,
Jump to again that the persona of the corporate individual who you work with. All of them are today trying to somehow be unique in kind of a very cookie cutter environment, right? Do they come to you with, okay, I want to tell stories, or I want to convert business data into stories, and I want to, but how do I stand out? How do I be that one person who in that room makes an impact? What do you say to them? Because one thing we were talking about, that with AI now, everybody on LinkedIn sounds exactly the same, right? Because they have access to the same tool. And so they sound, you start reading and you're like, okay, I'm done. Let me move on to something else. So everybody sounds, so we had this phase of thought leadership. A lot of leaders were writing in depth about their expertise, etc. And now we don't, I don't see that word used.
Ghostwriting, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
They were not.
At the time, it was
Ghost
ghostwritten,
or
but
not,
yeah,
but they were
yeah.
the thought leader, right?
Yeah.
And we've written for many such
Mhm.
thought leaders. So now I don't see that term used too often because now that it's accessible to everyone, anyone can become a thought leader because you have tools which will help you write it. So that kind of communication is it, which was a clear advantage. I remember in my working career, like because I could write well, or because I could speak well, more opportunities did come. Whether it's in front of a global audience in the organization, or whether write to the senior client, etc., etc. Today, they'll probably be using Copilot, and anybody in the organization can do it. So, how does a leader differentiate in this environment?
By being authentic.
So, what
There
is that authenticity?
multiple levels at which I can answer your question. Uh, uh, First of all, I have a partial disagreement when you say that everybody is writing beautifully. Everybody is
No,
not
everybody
writing
is writing.
Everybody is writing,
Yeah,
or writing using AI, which is
correct.
also not true. But some people are,
Yeah,
lots of people are
lots
writing
of,
using
yeah.
AI, and it looks like the same.
Hmm.
It's very difficult to be like someone else.
That's a very
It's
interesting
very
Yeah.
perspective.
difficult to. It's
Hmm.
very difficult to be for me to be like him. I can't. I haven't had those experiences that he has had. So it's very easy to be you. You just have to
Yeah.
let go.
That's
No,
the
but
other
I
thing.
think that's important, and that speaks to the coach in me because that let go is where the struggle is.
Yeah. So that's at one level. I've just answered your
Yeah.
question. But the second level is
It's
at the second
so-
level, AI is available to us. Having the tools available
yeah.
to a majority is different from majority is fluent in a language. So we have to build that fluency. The the best musician in any era has used technology to further their music. And so one should pick,
Yeah.
one should not be afraid of the
And
technology. One should use the
and when they
technology
did,
and
It's
there's
build
about
it
always
further.
judicious
resistance
use of.
also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when an A.R. Rahman came, the fact that
Yeah.
he used so much technology,
Synthesized
there was
music. Yeah.
resistance from probably the fraternity more than the audience,
Correct.
from his peers more than those of us who listened and enjoyed.
So AI should be seen as a tool that you can use to become more efficient, to become better, to bring in a different dimension, and so on and so forth. Use it judiciously, right? But if you if your entire existence depends on it, then you're shutting this down, right? And the sad part is today, because the tool is available, right? Like any other new technology that came in the past, even during our uh, prime, everything was used like, there was no end to it, right? So Gmail came. Gmail was given access only to a few people, and then you had to send it out, and then you got invited
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
club, and so on and so forth. But then, as soon as you got into it, suddenly you are mailing everybody for no reason, right? Similarly, Yahoo, whatever Messenger or whatever it is, and all those things. As soon as they came, the first thing that happened was that proliferation. Okay, everybody wanted to use it. Same thing is happening today.
Or you
So,
use Copilot. They clearly say it because
wow.
it's available. So why should I train you on something? Like you said, if you can put those two sentences together, please do. If you can't, there's a tool available. Because none of this is, so mission. I mean, it doesn't need a unique voice
Correct.
to tell somebody the project is delayed. You just have to tell them the project is delayed, right? So it's working in that way also.
I find, like I said, I find the whole discussion around AI a little bit sort of lot of hot air around it.
Hmm.
Give it some time, let the
Yeah.
dust settle.
Correct.
There's, any churning house is
Yeah.
different from, churning is good. There'll be a little bit of wish, and after that there'll be a little bit of
Correct.
Amrit. Hasn't the story of Amrit Manthan told us that? So churning is going on. Tools are tools.
Yeah.
Tools don't make it's a person who wields the tool who needs to, you can give the best camera to an average photographer, he'll still make an average photograph. And you can give an average camera to a good photographer, he'll still make a good photograph. It's not the camera, it is the photographer.
I mean,
And also perhaps by extension, and what I'm hearing also is to remove certain distractions, maybe in the sense that I think there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of information coming at us from all angles and avenues. But that pursuit of excellence really demands that you remove rather than
Absolutely.
add, I suppose.
Yeah. And the photographer needs a camera to make a
yes,
photograph.
That is
I'm
true.
not
that's true.
I'm not
That
here
is true.
sort of on an anti-technology
Yeah,
rant.
yeah.
I'm
Correct.
not saying the photographer knows the camera.
Yeah.
The camera becomes an extension of his eye, his hand, his limbs. You have to know it intimately.
Yeah.
That's fluency.
Yeah.
And then he can still make a good photograph with an average camera.
The other aspect of the work that you do, which I kind of seen often, is the business storytelling, right? What what really is that in terms of, if what is the kind of missing link for a leader that kind of takes them from however they're presenting their data to a really good business storyteller?
Well, so my view is that no matter which business we are in, once we are in business, storytelling is also your business. Uh, Further, good stories happen to those few who are able to tell them well. Not everybody is able to tell a good
True.
story and land it with impact. There's a lot of clutter and noise around us, and you need to stand above or cut through the clutter. If you have to cut through the clutter, you need a better knife. And that's where good business communication comes into play. Are you using the right metaphors? Are you using the right analogies? Uh, are you speaking in a way that is going to be memorable? Yeah. So it boils down to these things, and we haven't really built the muscle around this. We don't teach. We teach math. We teach science. We teach architecture. We don't teach storytelling. We don't
Correct.
teach communication. What do we do at work? We do just two things at work. If you're a finance person, you do finance and then you persuade people, you communicate the work that you've done. If you're an engineer, you do engineering and you communicate the work that you've done. We teach only one part, we don't teach the other part.
But
That's
we
what I
do
do.
measure them on the other part,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time, right? Like all performance review
Yeah, yeah.
discussions are about how you communicate. You need more visibility, right? And how you present yourself and how you talk about what you do. But both sides of the table have
Not enabled it.
not
Yeah.
or worked on it.
So that's what business communication or business storytelling is about, learning how to land a story at the workplace.
Which actually, I think the more senior you are, Vinay, and I've seen this with you, it's so much more important to tell the right stories to the right people in the right rooms. Typically, knowing that in those rooms, those stories will not be understood, right? Um, how do you navigate something like that? Because it can be fairly disheartening to have a perspective, to believe in it, to have some degree of emotional, believability in it, and then to go into rooms where it's not received that way. How would you recommend that someone navigate that, and what does it take?
So exactly what I practiced, right? So we were in the situation where there were multiple agencies, all working in silos. The creative aspect of it, the social media aspect of it, and so on, and the PR aspect of it, and then the internal marketing team. They were inviting and briefing um, each of these agencies separately. Okay, so let's assume that the creative agency got the first brief. That interaction led to something that came out of it. In the next brief to the social media agency, that got layered on it, and then they got a different. Therefore, they got a different brief. And by the time it went to the PR agency, they got the next layered version of it. Now the creative agency that started this whole thing off doesn't know that the brief has changed, right? So by the time they come back with some output, these guys are working on something else. This guy is working on completely different things, right? Number one. Number two, there is no vision. If there's no vision to talk about, you're working towards something. What are you working towards? What is it that you want to achieve? What is this campaign going to do? What is this piece of communication going to do? No clarity on that. We'll just do something and let's see where it lands and how it fares and stuff. No. The point is, if you don't know, if you're not clear about what you want to achieve, okay, then where storytelling, what brief, what output, right? So the first thing I did was, much in advance, made sure that I got everybody on the same page towards a certain goal. Okay, in that particular situation, the goal was about 4 months away, 5 months away,
Yeah.
right? And it's part of a calendar, and it's an annual calendar, and then it happens around that time. It's called the festival calendar, and so you ended up briefing the agencies on the same table at the same time. It was a workshop. It was not a briefing session. Okay, so all points of view were valid. Everybody was heard.
But when you bring attention to this other half of the job, which is communicating well, do you find that people are surprised by it, or is it something that they've all known but they're just acknowledging in the room for the first time? Usually, how does that go?
Uh, so, we don't market ourselves. We don't, in the sense that we don't push.
Mm-hmm.
We only go in where we are called. So we don't have to
Yeah.
sell it. And that's my belief on uh, consulting, which is that, consulting kind of work doesn't have to be sold, it has to be bought.
Mm.
Uh, so I don't, to somebody who doesn't believe that there is a better way of communicating,
Mm. Yeah.
why would you, why would I waste my time on
Yeah.
persuading? There are enough. Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the today the problem is the other,
Mm.
that there's a lot more demand than
Mm-hmm.
one can handle,
Mm.
and the reason for that is pretty simple. There's a lot of clutter out there,
Mm.
and standing out of that clutter is not easy.
Yeah.
There's low attention spans, and earning people's attention is not easy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to learn how to earn and hold on to people's attention.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't have this problem now.
It's the other.
It's
Yeah.
the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, but it also validates. I mean, we have a team member, we were having an internal conversation, and she said, like, the whole idea of being here and working with this team is that tomorrow, when there's a piece of work out there, people should know that we should have had a role to play in it. That's how specific and that's how sharp we need to be.
Yeah.
That when the work is out there, people have no doubt and that was very sort of inspiring, and it was a call to action to me where we said, this is the time to double down on copy, this is the time to double down on design and get really really picky about what we like and what we enjoy doing. Yeah, I mean, and it goes where it goes, right? Like, the hope is that it'll go the right way. Yeah.
But on
Yeah,
that
you've
note,
spent hours doing it, right?
Yeah.
You might as well tell the story. There's an old jungle saying in Africa, if the lion doesn't tell its own story, the hunter will.
Mm-hmm.
So you be the lion, you be the lioness, not in a menacing kind of, but it's your
yeah.
work. If you don't speak for it, who
Yeah,
else will?
that's true. And
What
that again is a permission that a lot of us need to hear. I think we don't.
true.
I don't think we hear often enough someone telling us that you should first of all take pride in your work,
Yeah.
and secondly that you should then speak of it, and this is the language and this is the vocabulary for doing
That's
so.
because most of us have grown up in a middle class upbringing where our parents told us your work should speak for itself.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that idea.
Yeah.
First, the work should be good. If I hope that my work is going to speak for itself, my work doesn't have a tongue.
Mm.
Yeah, my work has to be good, but don't underestimate the work of 29 other people in the team.
That's an interesting perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, don't underestimate the work of 29 other people in the team. They are all equally good. So how will you stand out? Well, if you think that you've done something, well, communication is not a soft skill.
Mm.
It's not a soft skill. It's a power skill.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, what are the things that take people up? Good work, being a part of a good team, subject matter expertise in what you're dealing with. If you become a manager, then going beyond subject matter expertise and knowing finance, knowing HR. If you're my boss, you may have studied engineering, but if you're my boss, you are my first HR, not HR. Have you broadened your skill set now? And after that, power skills, influence, persuasion, negotiation. Negotiation is not just for finance people.
Yeah.
Everybody negotiates. When have you attended a course in negotiation?
On the one hand, we are not learning it, and on
Yeah.
the other, that call out at some point is also
I'll give
not
you one more example.
happening.
One of my manager's kids, the son, had a car that would go pick him up from school and bring him back. Now, that car would go drop him to his friend's house, bring him back. Party, birthday party, drop back. One day, he got dropped off at his friend's birthday party. Car came back for some other work. Now he's there. Party got over, he got bored. He decided to come home. He called his mother and said, "Send the car." Mother said, "Car has gone somewhere." So he says, "Okay, how do I get back home?" So she said, "Figure it out." So a man books a cab. Okay. Cabs are not coming because he's on the other side of the ring road. Finally, his friend's mother or whatever brings him outside, puts him in a auto rickshaw, and says, "Indiranagar Defense Colony." That's all. Meter down. Kid doesn't know where he's going. He's panicking. He's constantly on the call with his mother. Mother's asking him, "What do you see? What do you see now?" Because he's never seen it. While sitting in the confines of
Yeah,
his
you don't need
car,
to
he's
look
just been
out.
sitting on his phone,
Yeah.
PlayStation, this, that, whatever it
Yeah.
is, scrolling. He's never known the route from his friend's place or from his school to home. How is he going to figure it out? That was alarming for me. I said, if a kid can't find his way home independently
Yeah.
at 12 or 15, that's a cause for concern.
Yeah.
Mm.
But on the other side, I feel kids today are picking up skills which we weren't exposed to. At least for my daughters, I've seen from day one, like let's say first standard or even earlier, maybe, they were made to present, stand in front of the class, talk about your project, do stuff in groups, negotiate with your team members, figure out who's the one who's slacking, which we maybe started picking up at the college stage. And then today, I also see those in middle management attending a presentation with impact workshop. And you have to remind them that your competition is these folks who are coming into the workforce who've been presenting from first standard. They come with immense confidence. For them,
Yeah.
standing in front of the classroom and
It's a
peers,
non-issue,
it's a
actually.
non issue. But for all of us, that first moment of public speaking,
3 years ago, first time.
Yeah, it was.
which is an aberration,
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
because for
Yeah,
most of us
obviously.
it was at the workplace. Because at school you could just sit quietly and
Yeah.
complete your 16 years. College was a different story, and your first was probably at the workplace in front of a team in a team meeting, etc. Do you see that shift in folks that you work with?
Yeah.
The confidence of the youngsters, or exposure rather, which the middle management doesn't have.
Yeah. It is there, and it's very welcome thing.
Yeah.
That muscle is getting built earlier, and it's a correction in the education system.
Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
positive trend that
That's true.
And you know, and alongside that, I often say this. If there are some people from some cultures who are able to tell better stories at the workplace, it's not because they were born with it. They've gone through an education system that calendarizes it as part of, for most of us, in India, you made the first presentation in college, uh, made the
Correct,
first
correct.
presentation,
Yeah.
not delivered it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You delivered the first presentation at the workplace.
Yeah.
So you've had much less practice with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus today's kids who, it's like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. That muscle hasn't been exercised. That's why we exist. If the muscle had been exercised, we wouldn't be in. There would be a need for this, or there would be a need for our services in some other
In
form.
some, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, as we wrap up, what is your most cherished storytelling moment? Like when you think of your career in storytelling, what's the one that really is still a fond memory?
There are lots of them, so it will be very difficult to choose. But not too far from where we are sitting is the Spastic Society of Karnataka. We went in. Remember, I was telling you that story that I had an office and
Correct.
hoping that people would come. Nobody came, and then my friend said we have to go out. And one of the places that I went out to was the Spastic Society of Karnataka, and said, "Hey, um, uh, we would love to tell stories here." And Kerali ma'am, who was the principal at that point of time here at the Spastic Society. She said, "Do you know anything about autism?" So he said, "No." She said, "Good, come in. But I must warn you, the children will not make eye contact with you, and they may not. Let's see how it goes." We finished one class. One class is 30 minutes long. By in 3 weeks, we were doing two classes together, back to back. Children wouldn't let us go. Uh, that's heartening.
Yeah.
That where a seasoned teacher assumes that the children won't be able to enjoy your work even for 10 minutes, and now two classes have gone by and the children are singing a Storywallahs song. There's a song that we used to sing with them, and everybody is singing in chorus. Or just a few days ago, I was at Dehradun airport, and the flight that I was scheduled on for Bangalore, it got delayed by massively by many hours. There's a kid initially traveling alone, but because the flight got massively delayed, the father who was outside the airport also bought a ticket and came in, because the flight was delayed by 7 8 hours, and the father also flew. He wanted to drop the girl to Bangalore. Mother was waiting at Bangalore airport to receive. The kid was sitting next to me just as you are, and the father was on a different seat. And I got talking to the kid, and then I started telling her stories, and we started talking about poems, and there are stories as poems. And after some point of time, I said, "Listen, do you want to sit with your dad?" And the father said, "Beta, shall I come now?" And she said, "No, no, Papa, I am good with uncle." You can't buy these things at any shop. They're priceless. Where a child says, "I want to sit with you." Uh, yeah, I mean, it's a long list, uh, but there are many, many such moments that validates my belief in the power of stories to create deep human connections.
Yeah.
I think you also run retreats, which kind of.
Come over.
I think
We've been
we've been
thinking,
really
we've
tempted.
actually,
We're like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
which one is going to be possible, logistics and everything. But we
And she
will.
points to me because I have my dive calendar sorted for the next 1 year, but it's on our minds.
You
And we
don't have
would
to
love
come
to.
together.
That's true.
That is true.
And she doesn't need a retreat. She always retreats into the
I
depths
know.
of the ocean and stuff like that. So
I know.
let her go.
I know.
Let me retreat in other ways.
I'm trying to get her to retreat on land also. So. What's your most memorable brand story
I mean,
or
you can
just
say working with me and all that. That's
no,
allowed, but
not individuals, but
No, I mean, I don't think I have a specific one, but there were a couple of campaigns or pieces of communication that went out that I was extremely proud of. But uh, like he said, when it comes to work, when you've done something, when it's out there, okay, you'll feel proud of it. You'll feel proud of it for a long time. But if it has not touched you,
yeah,
it's done something to you. It's not touched you, right? I don't think I have any work related or thing that has touched me. Okay, so honestly speaking, I'm proud of things. I'm proud of some pieces of communication that I've written, which is published as it is. Some campaigns that we worked on, and so on and so forth. A lot of work that we did in the Kochi market. That
yeah.
every single piece of communication at the point in those 2 years was something very close to my heart, but nothing that really touched me, right? So, will I be talking about these things with wistfully, like he just did? Okay, I don't think so, right? These are all very transactional things that you're proud of it. You're proud of what you did. You're proud of what you produced, and so on and so forth. But nothing that I would
So there's something
says.
to look forward to.
Yeah,
Of
then it's
course.
ahead of him. Then it's on
Yeah,
the way.
it's on the
Yeah,
way.
It's
of
on the
course.
way. That moment
Yeah.
has been born. It's walking
Correct.
towards you, and you are walking towards it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so
So
beautiful.
much to look forward
Yeah.
to, therefore.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that's it. I write a bit also. And I only write when I'm inspired. Okay, unfortunately. I used to write before. I used to write, you know, but now I only write when I'm inspired. Very little inspires me. Very few people inspire me. So only
So
when that
there's a lot
happens.
for you to look forward to, I
Yeah,
must
Yeah,
say.
actually.
there is a lot. There is a
That's
lot.
nice.
Yeah, but the way you put it was so beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, that it's already born and it's walking
Yeah.
towards you. It's such a sweet thing to think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, we were called small talk for a long time, and then we said, okay, what is it evolving? Like, what are our conversations kind of getting bucketed into? And we landed on work, play, build, right? So we've talked about largely your work, and it's also something that you're building as a career, as a space that you want to be in. But what's play for you?
Preparing, riyaz. In Hindustani classical music, we say riyaz,
Riyaz.
but preparation. The chopping
Mm.
of the onion, if you're a chef, that's play for me.
Mm.
So preparing for a story, wrestling with words.
Lovely.
Wrestling is
Uh-huh.
borrowed from the word of wrestling, but you're trying to pin down something
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
you're searching for that word.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's eluding you, and you're trying to go after it, and that wrestling match, yeah, that's play.
And the joy when it lands, and
The
then you
joy when
smile
it lands,
inside.
but also preparing for
Huh,
something, when
huh.
you're in prep mode. So I'm currently in the prep mode. I'm trying to prepare a performance for a performance. So
Beautiful.
Lovely, lovely. What's play for you?
Um, quiet.
Oh, okay.
I have to still this.
Mm.
So at the end of no, not at the end of when I want that,
Mm.
I just step into my room
Mm.
and there's no device. Okay, it's just the two dogs
Mm.
who are up to their antics for a
Music,
while.
maybe.
It used to be,
Huh.
but now it's only quiet.
Only quiet.
So I live in Alsur, okay, and it's a nice place, except that that road has become a thoroughfare because of some other one way and so on
Sure.
and so forth. So therefore, there's a lot of that constant traffic flow that happens over there. So that's ambient. That's a droning.
Mm.
Then my entire apartment is surrounded by trees, so that whole wind in the rustling of the leaves and so on and so forth. And then the odd coughing and the other one listening to some watching. There's these watchman cabins, right? Two of them outside my window, and all of them are usually on some reel or the other. And
Yeah.
you know that
Yeah,
comedy thing
yeah,
that you can keep hearing,
yeah. That laugh track.
that laugh track, right? That is constant. Okay, now it's constant. You can hear it. It's like this watchman cabin, that watchman cabin. So you keep hearing that. So all of that ambient noise calms me down.
I was just going to ask, are you zoning it out, or are you absorbing it?
I'm using it to calm me down,
Hmm.
right? Because Mysore is a different story. Bangalore, the minute you're out of your house, it's constant noise, and then you start thinking, and that noise, and your thoughts, that noise, and so on and so forth. So to still that out, this is what I do.
Mm.
So on the weekend, it could be any time. In the during the week, work days, I get into my room when I feel like I need to quieten down, and that's it. It's not like I've shut the door and there's
Hmm.
ambient music playing and there's some perfume, something that is being whatever. No, none of that stuff. Room door is open. The kids are playing. I mean, the kids are on the bed doing their antics, and then they're settling down. So suddenly it's all peace until the lift sound happens and these guys go ballistic. Okay, still quiet.
Yeah.
Painted quite a picture there.
That's
Yeah.
play. Yeah.
I'm just thinking that curiosity for quiet is,
Yeah,
yeah.
very interesting.
No, because today if you ask somebody who's in their 20s and 30s, if you ask them what's play, they'll say, "Oh, morning gym, evening pickle. Then there's some what's that da- uh, dance, something that they do,
Zumba.
Zumba, right? So that's play." I'm like, my God, that's so much work. So there's no there's no downtime. They're constantly trying to keep up, keep doing something. But yeah, so I like what he said about riyaz, about
Riyaz.
practice,
Yeah.
and about preparing. And this is mine.
Thank you, Vinay. I mean,
Thank you.
wonderful conversation.
Thank you for having us.
It's been joy, really, because
Thank you.
Yeah.
this is something that we do enjoy a lot, and it's very nice to have a very simple, open conversation. Uh,
That was what this was.
yeah.
It's been a while since we've had these kind of conversations, right? Because otherwise it's always goal-oriented
Agenda.
conversations.
True.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you so
time.
much.
Thank you so
So
much.
generous of you. We have a segment called Read, Watch, Listen.
Yeah. Okay.
So, any one recommendation from you? It could be a book, something to watch, something to listen to, something to experience.
Listen to.
Hmm.
My go-to at this point in time is Coke Studio Pakistan, right? Because in that quiet, if I want something to disrupt that quiet, this is it.
Nice.
Very nice.
Been a while, Coke Studio. Yes.
I would just say read a lot of children's stories. They are
Mm.
not children's stories.
That is
True.
true.
So true.
They're
So
very
true.
adult stories.
True.
It's just that they come masked as children's stories.
Yeah.
But read a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of like this movie that we saw recently, Sheep
Sheep
Detective.
detectives. Yes.
Meant
That
for
was
children, but it's for
yeah.
us.
Highly recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of stuff that is supposedly meant for children is not meant for children only.
Huh.
It is meant for adults as well.
Yeah. Fair.
But don't listen to those nursery rhymes and interpret it as something else.
Lovely.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. It's been a pleasure.